To forgive, it's not easy, especially based on your definition, especially when the perpetrator acts arrogantly to you, walk away, and still, sometimes they owe you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an apology.
That's right.
Just give me my money. You don't have to apologize.
Right.
Just give me the
Give
money.
me my money.
We be good.
But it's bad when they don't apologize and
They don't get their money. And they smiling in your face and praising God. Like everything is good.
Oh, God.
Like, what Bible are they?
And you know, oh, Jesus. If people going to cancel me right now, I am going to have a problem if I get to heaven. And I pray I get to heaven and I see them up there.
They may be in the front
Because
of
I'm
the
going to say,
line.
God, wait a minute. Let them give me my money back first.
Tenfold.
I want my money. Don't give them no mansion or no corner. Let them pay up first before you let them
We
in.
need
When they
Gabriel
go
at
through
the
these
gate.
gates. No. Keep them outside the gates.
Where is everybody at? It's podcast time. This is Henry Fernandez, and I am glad that you've joined us today. This is what we do. I love what we do here at Henry Fernandez Podcast. You know, we try our best to identify topics that are relatable to the community, the real ones. You know, people who are not afraid to confront the issues of life. And that's why you're valuable to us. So please continue to support us by subscribing and clicking on the notification bell. It's very important because every time we release a podcast, you'll be the first to be notified. And please share this episode with your friends and your loved ones, coworkers. It's really, really important to us. And then, as always, leave your comments. We don't care if it's critical or not. You know, share your comments of how you're liking the podcast. It's important because we need to know if what we're doing is connecting with you, it's benefiting you. And then perhaps, you know, we may be doing something that's wrong. You know, we stand here to be corrected. You know, correct us. Tell us, I don't like that, or whatever it is, and so forth. But whatever you do, we got to hear from you, the community. As always, we can't do this if you don't support us. Right, so every time we come on the podcast, you know, it costs us to release this. So we need you to help us by sending in your donation, by using the giving platforms that's on your screen right now. Take a moment, and you don't have to wait until you finish watching this episode. You can give right now. So we thank you so much. Well, I've got on my right my co-host, Carleen Wright.
What's up, real ones?
Something.
What's up, real ones?
We got Frederick Custer.
Oh, yeah. Y'all know what time it is. What's going on, real ones?
We in here.
I'd have a good time today.
All right. So we're going to be dealing with a very important topic here today. And I don't know if you guys are ready for this.
All right.
But we're talking
Yeah.
about
What are we talking about?
release and renew. What are we releasing? And what are we trying to make new? Well, the subtopic to that is the power of forgiveness. So release and renew. Forgiveness, man, that thing is something else.
That's heavy.
Hard.
You know, so we know in order for one to be forgiven, some wrong must have been done.
Right.
Right? So if I say, Frederick, you know, I forgave you, you did me something
Yeah. Don't tell me.
that warrants me to say, I forgive you.
Right.
So the question then is it possible to forgive? It's a set of questions, so be careful of your answer. Is
It
it
is.
possible to forgive?
It absolutely is possible to forgive.
Okay.
I actually have a little definition
Okay.
of forgiveness.
Let's
I
hear the
said,
definition.
let me write this down because I got to take my time with
It's a
this.
setup. It's a setup. All right. All right. Go ahead.
So
What
here's,
is it?
here's my definition,
Yeah.
and based on experience and, you know, what I know to be true biblically. So forgiveness, thoroughly releasing someone in your heart and mind from an offense, even when on your scale they do not deserve it.
That's forgiveness. So on the spiritual side, that's Jesus
Okay.
forgiving us.
Yeah.
If
Heart and
we, because we don't deserve it.
Right.
You know, we're not worthy of it, but thank God for his grace and his mercy. You know, we can say we are forgiven. But now when you're talking people to people,
Come on.
the question then is, are there a moment when forgiveness is hard and should not be extended? Because, read it again.
All right.
Set up. Read it again.
And not be
My
extended.
definition, thoroughly releasing someone in your heart and mind from an offense, even when on your scale they do not deserve it.
Okay.
On your scale.
So we're talking about forgiveness now, releasing the person
Right.
and allowing the power of the forgiveness of Jesus Christ to take over your life.
Yeesh.
I was watching the Forge movie,
Right. Yeah. Good movie.
and it was a good movie.
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched it, you need to go out and watch it. And was good. And if you remember, the business owner who hired the young man,
Yes.
they lost their son
That's right.
through a drunk driver, right? So no, you know, everybody was watching the movie. We're fine. You know, he lost his son, and I didn't think anything of it, whatever. But later in the movie, this man who lost his son had a group of men gathering once a week, I think it was, to have Bible study and to be empowered. Come to find out, one of the guys he's mentoring is the guy who was the drunk driver who killed his son.
Spoiler alert.
I sat down in that movie theater.
Jesus.
I am Bishop Henry Fernandez. I pastor the Faith Center. I preach the power of God so many times. I talk about faith. I preach about salvation. I preached about forgiveness.
Yeah.
But when I sat there,
Had it been you.
You ain't the only one.
I am like, no, they tripping.
Yeah.
Could have been me.
Whoever wrote that script
That's hard.
need to go back to the altar.
Man.
They need to go back and ask God to forgive them.
For that.
Put in
Thinking
that,
that they-
in the script.
You
'Cause
can-
that is hard.
It is
That's
hard. You can
wild.
forgive someone, but then to take the extra step to have them in your space, to show compassion and care, to mentor them because you
Mentor
want them
them.
to be better, that's on a whole nother level.
So that's why I ask you to read your definition again, because we always talk about it's easy to forgive the person for the wrong they did you, but there are some moments in life where forgiveness is hard, and that's where the stronghold of release is just gripping us. It's hard to release some people. Have you ever had anybody done you wrong that it was hard for you to release it out of your heart?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I have actually, and it took quite a while. It was actually it was a relationship, and it was a heartache breakup type of situation that I found out that I might have gotten cheated on at the end of the relationship, and they got pregnant during the end of it, and so it took me a minute to really wrap my brain around that because I was still in the process of seeing them, but to be able to say, is what it is.
But you're speaking to a lot of people who have experienced similar things like that.
Yeah.
So what made you release it?
Good question. Honestly, it was starting to feel like a burden that I didn't want to continue to hold anymore. It was starting to feel like, what was the purpose of me still holding on to this, that I can't continue to live my life because I'm still feeling a pain from the situation where it's not doing me any good. I'm still just holding on to this weight, and she's living her best life in the whole nine, and I'm up here like,
Would you take her back if she comes back?
oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So, but
That's a
somebody will say,
whole-
okay, but
Forgive
that's
and
not
forget.
forgiveness. You
Well-
have not, well, suppose she was to come back and say, look, I made a mistake.
I can
I
forgive.
was praying and the
Yes.
Lord just spoke to me, and, I've become this woman now that, I believe that God is sending me back to you.
Oh man, time's up. So forgiveness, I believe, does not necessarily mean you have to go back into a situation and put yourself back into that bondage type of thing to say that I forgave them. Not to say good to her that she, have now found relief and found healing, and now the eyes are now open, and you were the one the whole time for me. Please take me back, baby. Please take me back.
Okay.
It's not for me.
So what about, and I'm coming to you, Carlene, because I know you over there. You're ready.
Yeah,
You're ready to jump
she's running in.
Did she ever apologize?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't think I ever got an apology. That's a really good question.
I wonder how many people out there who've been done wrong by people, and you have released them.
Yeah.
See, this is the power of forgiveness, is knowing that the person did you wrong.
Wow.
And you battled with that hurt a long time, and then you finally release them, not knowing that they didn't even apologize.
It's a peace that comes with that. That I didn't need it. I didn't need it.
You didn't need the apology
Not anymore. Yeah.
Wow.
I got to that point. So.
Wow. See, and I read the scripture, and then Carlene, you can jump in. Matthew 6:14-15. It says, "For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others of their trespasses, neither will your heavenly Father forgive your trespasses." So I see, based on scripture, for those of us who are people of faith, that forgiveness is really not about the other person.
That's good. That's good.
No.
It's about you being in the will of God.
Yep.
Wow.
It's about you getting on God's side for
Yeah.
him to handle the battle for you, because all of us have sinned. It may not be that level
Correct.
of hurt.
Right.
But what Jesus is saying here is, in order to get whatever our issues and wrong that we have done, in order for us to get ours forgiven, we have to forgive.
Yes. No, you're so right, Henry, because I found myself in my early 20s in a scenario where I had to choose to either release my father or release me, And I mean, I don't really talk much about my father because I'm the fourth of 5 girls, as a lot of you know, and we grew up by my single mom because my father was not in the home. Actually, when I was born, he disowned me. And if you put a wig on his head, he's me, right? We look the most alike. So I carry that for years. And I remember being in my house, and I practiced calling my father. I was like, you know what? So much has happened between me and my mom. And I said, I'm going to call him, and maybe he'll give me an apology, as you were talking about, because he definitely owes me one. And I rehearsed saying, hey, Daddy, it's Carlene. No, wait. Hey, Dad, it's Carlene. And so heavy to do, but I did it. And I called him, and I started the conversation to the tune of, hey, Daddy, I just wanted to talk to you about, and then, mention. And this man says to me in his Jamaican dialect, no bother with that, man. Let bygones be bygones. And I was like, what just happened? I was like, how's your wife? And I never received, up until this day, I've never had a happy birthday, a Merry Christmas. I don't know what that's like. I don't know what a father's hug is like. And I've never received an apology. So I had to make a choice, as painful as it has been. And I've found, different ways through God, community, my family, of course. But I had to choose, Carlene, am I going to release him or me, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not about him, like you said.
Right.
It was me, and me being able to live a full life and not holding bitterness or holding him, in my heart.
Right. You know what you lived, a lot of people out there are currently living that. Some have, but some are currently living that, where their parents were never in their lives. Not just men, fathers, mothers too, but never in their lives. And but it's more so on the father's side. And when that child becomes an adult, trying to, let things go by, but try to, you cannot have closure.
Right.
until you close
Right.
the door.
Let's have a conversation about it.
Right? And you're not the only one. Others, have experienced the same thing. But the struggle is what you've done, which is really great, and people need to learn from Carleen, is though her father did not have the conversation, he actually just shut it down, right? And perhaps didn't even see that he did anything wrong, right? But you didn't bite the bait. Okay, how's your wife?
Right.
You kept the conversation to the point where at some point in time, you got healed over that.
Yes.
You released him. But there are many struggling right now.
Yeah.
My daddy was never in my life, and
That's right.
I'll never forgive him.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you said it, Frederick, it's too much. That's too much weight.
Come on, man.
You lose twice. Because you lose with
lose
what
twice.
you lose twice, and that is a risk that a lot of people are taking, and you got to let that go because you lost by the experience, and now you're allowing yourself to be in captive. You're in prison from what's happening, so now you're losing because you're bitter. Unforgiveness breeds anxiety, stress. I mean, there's so many health impacts with unforgiveness. Like I chose me. Like you have to choose yourself. And what I also thought about, one, yes, it's God. It's a command from God, right?
Right.
For us to forgive. So we have to do that. But when you look at it, like that person, as you mentioned, they're they're living, but you are sitting there waiting for someone to make you free. You got to take that responsibility on yourself and free yourself.
So, Carleen, how long would you say it took you to be the person to reach out? Instead of like, I'm the daughter, I'm the child, he's the parent, he should reach out to me. Like what
Very good.
What was that tension? Like how did you get to that?
Well, I've always wanted to be a daddy's girl. My mom is my everything, but I've always wanted that. And throughout school, everything, I see people with their dads, and I'm like, that's what I wanted. So I felt like if I reached out, and called, he would be able to come to his senses, and then I would be able to fix everything for all my other sisters. Like I thought I was going to be the savior, and fix everything for everybody else. So it was at the point where I was like, no, we can fix this. Like it can work. I'm in my 20s, but we can still fix this. We can have a great relationship. But he didn't see the need for that.
Are you the oldest?
I'm the fourth.
Wow.
I'm the fourth of 5 girls. But too, Fred, what I had to realize is, and this is not giving him an excuse, but I had to realize that some people do not have the capacity, to one, understand the detriment that they've caused in other people's lives. Some don't care, but some people just don't have the capacity. So while he needs to work on and fix his scenarios, like I needed to fix my scenarios and move on, because if I allowed that to continue, I was setting myself up for failure years and years on out.
Do you know any information about his father, his mother? What was their life like?
Yeah, 12 children, and my father was...
Did his father, which is your grandparents,
Right.
Did they stay together?
Grandparents were together the whole time, and my father, my uncles are pastors, doctors,
Yeah.
teachers, right?
His siblings.
And his siblings.
Yeah.
And my father was a mechanic. So he was kind of a little bit of a misfit in a sense, just looking at the demographic of his brothers and sisters, nurses. And not that anything is wrong with being a mechanic. He loved his job,
right, absolutely,
but
absolutely.
his parents were together. They were married for years,
right.
50th anniversary, but he just...
Right. The reason why I ask is because sometimes a father is incapable of being a father because he's never been fathered.
And now that you say that, there's always that, the island parenting, right? So there's not the love and the, touchy-feely, great job, son. He didn't get that. That I can resonate with that. He did not receive that.
Right. So maybe because, there's somewhere in his development, maybe he lacked that ability to be a father. And you mentioned he might have not had the capacity to do it. He's done his best. And also, a lot of men, they hide their incompetency in a defensive way.
That's true.
And they bully their way.
Yeah.
through life because maybe he's afraid, which is no excuse for him.
Right.
He's afraid that he messed up, but you 5 girls are gonna dog him out or always pointing fingers. So and sometimes he may not even want to deal with your side.
Right.
Because this new family that he has created, he doesn't want this. Now he might have gotten it right over here. Does he have children?
No, he didn't have any other children.
All right. Well,
In that relationship. Outside of it, yes. But-
okay. There goes.
Yeah.
It's just a lot. And I think really,
yeah.
I have to commend you, the fact that
Absolutely.
Even with all of that, and at your age, for you to say, I release him, because that is hard, man. I'm telling you, that people can relate to this podcast.
Yeah.
It is hard to forgive in relationships. Some of you, you dated someone like, Frederick, and they were not faithful to you, or you're married, someone is not faithful to you, or your parents, your father. Many of you right now, if you were to, someone was to ask you, where's your father at? You don't know. And it's not that he is missing.
That's good.
You know where to find him.
I know where he's at. I can
But
locate him.
he's absent out of your life, and so forth. And that's hard because, if you're not careful, you blame some of your struggles in life on the fact that your daddy wasn't there. Was there any time in your life that you just felt certain things you went through because dad was not there?
I would say, as I got older, like 17, 18, and you kind of need that mentorship from a father. And interestingly enough, as I was younger at the church, and when I came and I, started to listening to you, I was like, oh, a father figure, So you have been a father figure, for me and other people in the church. But definitely when I looked at my life, even with my marriage, sometimes I would think, was there anything missing that caused certain things, in my marriage? Because no marriage is perfect. There's always,
Right.
2 sides to every story. So I try to find things that I can connect the dots with to see what responsibility I may have had from, anything that's not yet healed or that lingered over,
Ooh, so you brought up something in regards to your marriage. Do you think the absence of your father not being there had a course correction or something that because your unforgiveness with him at the time, had a decision factor when it comes to finding or being connected to somebody else?
Not really. My grandfather, I was raised till the age of 8 by my grandfather. Grandfather was, a pastor in the church, lovely, lovely relationship with my grandfather, and from there, like I said, God kind of put people along the way, but I don't feel that there was such a big gap when it came to, my marriage. What I will say, the first person that I dated, I fell in love with as far as, a serious relationship, and we got married very young, but I am that lovely, want to make a home kind of a person. So I gravitated to that. And I told myself, I said, I would not ever let what happened to my mother and my father happen to me, which was, of course, their marriage ended in divorce. And, obviously.
Life happens.
Life happens.
You can declare things, but people need to understand that your heart can be pure.
Right.
That's right.
And if you're not careful, you will hold yourself as the person in the wrong.
Right.
And let the perpetrator escape, because you're thinking, well, did I do anything?
Right.
What did I do?
You need an answer.
As long as you know you've done your part, then really don't worry about it. The issue for me, when we talk about release and renew, I don't think renewal in finding yourself, being the best version of yourself, and finding a path to a new way, a new life, can happen until you release the weight of whatever it is. Relationship, you let go of that
I
relationship.
totally agree.
Just forgive, let it, because as long as that's on you, you will never go into that new path. Even, I know many of you out there right now, somebody owe you money.
Ooh.
The time of desperation, they came to you and said, okay, can I borrow $1,000? And you gave them the $1,000, you know, and they promised that they would, you know, give you
back.
the money back and
Right.
so forth. How do you forgive them when it's been 5 years
Yes.
and they haven't given you the money back?
And they're
Is
ghosting you. They're
should-
not picking up your phone call.
But let me ask you this. I mean, think about this. What if, say at your workplace, someone came to you and borrowed money from you.
Mm-hmm.
Every day you go at the job and you see them, they're not saying, they told you they're going to give it to you by Friday.
That's good.
It's been a year since Friday has not arrived. You know, and they won't bring it up to you. You finally go to them and say, hey, you know, remember that $1,000 you say, well, give me, what's up? It's, you know, and they kind of say, hey, I don't have it. Da-da-da-da. What do you do then? Do you forgive and say, you know what, release,
Or do
you
you
know,
say, I'm
take it, or do you say, I want my money? Because doing that, doesn't that trigger that thing of, I'm not releasing this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like I'm saved, but I got hands. You know, it's like I mean, I don't know if you want me to put hands on you right now to
Right,
make
somebody
make
getting
a
violent
difference.
over here.
You know, I mean, you know, Peter. You know, I might
You're going to HR office. That's where you going.
because we got to. And you see me every day.
Okay.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
People will do that to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know,
But you learn though from that. You know, one thing too, a rule that I have. I never lend what I can't lose, right? So
that's good.
yeah, never lend what I can't lose. But if that happens, you know, you confront that person and let them know, like, hey, you know, we're getting paid tomorrow because you're up at the same place.
We're getting paid tomorrow. It's Friday, 12 noon.
You know, would you like to Zelle it or would you like to just, you know, Cash App? Like, how do you want to pay me back the money, right? And of course, if they don't, then you know that person, you're going to have to eventually release them, but they can never borrow from you again.
All of us at some level, at some point in life, have to release people, have to forgive. And thank you, Lord. To release and to forgive someone, let me put it this way. To forgive someone, you have to be willing to have some losses.
Yes.
You have to be willing, okay? You may not get what you think you deserve. You did not get that from your dad.
That's true.
You did not get that from your ex.
Yep.
You have to be willing. I remember my story is, and it has happened to me several times, and I know I probably have hurt people. You know,
Unbeknownst. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, but I remember years ago, I'm going back, oh my goodness, this got to be maybe 28, 29 years ago. So I had this condo that I owned, and I renovated the condo, you know, because it was my way of investing.
Right.
You know, that's what I do on my own personal time. And I had the condo and fixed it up, and everything was going well. And there was someone who was in need and who was in my face literally every week. He and his wife, they were in a situation, and I said, okay, go ahead, you know, all right, pay me this every month. And they said, okay, fine. And then come to find out, maybe 3 months they were paying the rent. Then the fourth month, nothing coming in. Second month, nothing coming in. Third month, nothing coming in. And probably the mistake I made, because I'm just saying, this is, because I'm going somewhere with this. The people who, I believe, maybe I'm judging or prematurely speaking, I believe the people who are more sincere and genuine sometimes get hurt the most.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because you open your heart. So I'm not thinking anything, because one would ask, after the first month, why you let it go to 3 months and you don't ask? Never ask. See them every week. Long story short, 9 months.
Whoa.
And they haven't said a thing. So this day, I decided I'm going to say something. So I went and said, look, you know, it's been 9 months. You haven't even had the decency to come and say, look, life is hard, things, da-da-da-da. Nothing. And they looked me in the eye and they said, why are you making this difficult? Don't you see we don't have it?
Oh.
Look at what you do. Look at what you have. Now, let me tell you something.
Oh, come on. Tell me something.
That,
Wow.
that, right. I know I'm saved.
Come on, brother. Like,
I know I am, because I'm sitting there.
Yes.
Have you ever sat before somebody and they say something crazy?
come on.
Yeah.
And you're frozen?
Yeah.
I'm looking at them and I'm like,
What?
so,
It's a
if you get to know me,
toes down.
I am angry.
Oh, yeah.
I am angry. I am angry. I'm bitter. So I had to control my emotions. And I remember I walked away because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. And then finally I went back to them and I says, come, look, I don't care what you say. I need my money.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they were arrogant, whatever. And what made me even took my anger to the next level, they made me put my condo on the market. That was the only way I was going to get rid of them.
Whoa.
Because, the law, your tenant, if they know how to work the law, and I knew that's what they were going to do. I bought this
Yes.
just to tell you, and this is, let it go, Henry.
Man.
I want to know what was in your head. That's what I want to know. I want to know what was going on in that brain.
I bought the condo, I think, Carol and I, we bought it for, what, $40-something thousand at the time. It was a lot of money for a condo, $40-something thousand. We put it in the market. I pulled up the address about a couple of months ago. The same condo for $45,000 is now $3-something.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
I hope you don't see
So
them.
I forgive, but you see, it's coming.
Yeah.
That's how the
It's
devil
like, yes.
works.
Seriously.
Here's the thing, I put it back on the market. I put it on the market just to get them out. And when they left, every week I would see them. And they still didn't pay me 9 months.
Wow.
And every week I would see them, and I'm telling you, man, in my heart, I was angry, I was bitter. I would look at them.
Oh, yeah.
They would come to church. That's where I would see
Oh, yeah.
They came to church. And every time they come to church and I see them, they're down in the front. They were in the front singing and clapping and worshiping.
Everything is good.
And
Cut the music.
no, I'm the pastor.
Right.
And I had some bad thoughts
Oh, yes.
before I preached.
Hell and brimstone.
What?
Don't
And
clap your hands.
that
Don't
thing
do
was
that.
eating me up.
I bet.
I mean, it was eating me
course.
up, man. Somebody know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Because how you took my 9 months, you're not saying anything. You made me lost my investment. And finally, I had to let it go. And you know what? To this day, this is the release part. Let it go. Lost the money, lost the investment. To forgive, it's not easy.
No.
But it was to my advantage
Yeah.
to let it go because I don't know what I was capable of doing.
So tell me, what happened to the bodies? after you like did what you did, you let it go so that you like call somebody to put a hit out on them or something like that. Like,
Now you see, he talking about my business now. I ain't telling you nothing what I did.
They are still
What I
alive,
did
but-
is buried.
I'm like, it's eating at them. I'm like, ooh, I can't touch them. I'm the pastor.
Is buried. I'm telling you, man.
Wow. That was big.
I
That
was
was
wondering,
hard.
do I need to pack?
Yo,
That was hard.
I'm telling
that
you,
is
man.
hard.
That was
They smiling in your face.
So to forgive, it's not easy, especially based on your definition, especially when the perpetrator acts arrogantly to you, walk away, and still, sometimes they owe you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an apology.
That's right.
Just give me my money. You don't have to apologize.
Right.
Just give me the
Give
money.
me my money.
We be good.
But it's bad when they don't apologize and
And-
still
They don't
got
get
you.
no money. And they smiling in your face and
Right.
praising God. Like everything is good.
Oh, God.
Like, what Bible are they?
And you know, oh, Jesus. You people going to cancel me right now. I am going to have a problem if I get to heaven. And I pray I get to heaven and I see them up there.
They may be in the front
Because
of
I'm
the
going to say,
line.
God, wait a minute. Let them give me my money back first.
tenfold.
I want my money. Don't give them no mansion or no corner. Let them pay up first before you let them
We
in.
need
When they
Gabriel
go
at
through
the
these
gate.
gates. No. Keep them outside the gates.
Seriously, I've forgiven them.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I had to let it go.
Yeah.
So that's the release that I'm talking about. So, you talk about your father, you talk about your relationship, I talk about somebody who owe me money.
Yeah.
You all have your own stories out there. Yes. Forgiveness is not easy. And, we had tons of scriptures here.
Yeah.
All you need to do is to go into the Word of God.
Yeah.
Pull up in your search engine
right.
scriptures on forgiveness, and you meditate on it, because somebody watching right now, it's in your heart, man.
Yeah.
You're angry, you're bitter.
Release it.
Maybe your spouse failed you. Maybe your child's father walked out on you guys. Maybe it's your parents, what your parents did to you. Maybe it's your boss on the job. Maybe it's your best friend, somebody you trusted with your deepest secrets, right? Betrayed you. You got to learn to let things go. It will eat you up alive, right? Especially if you're a Christian, you got to let it go. Sometimes, that's why I said it before, you have to take your losses. Forgiveness requires you to take your losses. I lost big time, not only from them, but I lost my future resources. It hurts. A couple of months ago, I looked up the property address, $300-something thousand. That could be my money. So sometimes, you know what? People will rob you of your future. I get that, but you have to let it go. Forgiveness is more about you. Forget your past. Maybe you've dated before. Maybe you were married before and you divorced. You got to, especially, here's the sad thing about it. Most of you know the person who you've walked away from and you've divorced, in most cases, they have gone on with their lives.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing their own thing and sometimes try to spin the block.
Yeah.
But you just got to say to yourself, man, let it go. Release them. And you take care of you and watch what God will do in your life, right? Any last word, Frederick and Carlene, and we'll close this up.
Just continue to, like Henry said, continue to stay plugged into the source. Like it's not too bad to where you can't learn how to forgive. So continue to process of forgiveness. Yeah.
Yes, and I would just say choose you. When you choose forgiveness,
love that.
you choose
That's
you.
good. That's good.
So choose you.
I love that. Choose you. When you choose you, you won't let anybody rob you of your joy, your peace, your happiness, and so forth. Let it all go. Now, if it's $1 million, we'll talk after the podcast.
Yes,
Let it
sir.
go.
Listen,
Let it go.
I want to thank my co-host for joining me today.
sir.
It's been a really interesting topic, and I know it probably hit a nerve for some of you, but I hope that we've said something that would have empowered you, would make you rethink, or maybe visit something. Go back and say, maybe I need to fix that. Maybe I need to release that person. Maybe I need to take a renewed path in life by forgiving people. That's the power of forgiveness. I need to hear from you. We need to hear from you. Your comments is what keeps us going. When I tell you they matter to us,
Yeah.
they really do.
Yeah.
We need to hear from you. Tell us what this episode did for you. Strike up a conversation with us, or previous episodes. Tell us what topics you'd like us to address. We want to hear from you because we're here to serve you. And then we want to make sure that you let your family and friends and coworkers know about the podcast. Every time we release a podcast, you watch it, then you say, hey, you need to watch this, man. Get the word out to the community. Make sure you're subscribing to the podcast. Hit the notification bell right there and so forth. As always, I need your financial support. We do this, but it takes money to do the preparation of this. You only get to see us in front of the cameras, but you have no idea what is behind these cameras. It's a huge operation. We cannot do it if you don't help us, right? We have a message that we think is relevant to our society, so we need your help. Here's what you need to do. The information is right there. If you choose to give today, just use one of those platforms there. There's a phone number there, and sometimes the line may be busy, but here's what you do. you go to all of the other digital platform. It's fast, it's safe. Just go right now and sow into Henry Fernandez Podcast. We thank you. We'll be back at it again. And you guys are really the real ones.
Real ones.
See you next time.
Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments.
That was good.